Hello, you're watching mirror.co.uk and we're here with hip-hop legend DJ Shadow, and we're here today to talk about DJ Hero. Can you just talk us through your involvement in the game and how it all came about?
Sure. About a year ago and some change, I was contacted by Activision out in California, and they basically said, you know, we've got this DJ game, it's in development, we want you to come take a look at it, give us your feedback. So I did that, and you know, they wanted to know things like, how does the controller feel? What do you think about the music that's in the game so far? Do you have any thoughts about other DJs that we should reach out to? That sort of thing. And then it just kind of went from there. Initially, I didn't know that I'd be contributing mixes, but that came later.
I mean, of the mixes that are involved in the game, do you have a particular favourite? Because it crosses all genres, doesn't it? It's pretty diverse.
I mean, I have the most energy invested into the mixes that I did, but there's other mixes that I think are really, in some ways, better on a gameplay level. It took me a little bit of time to get used to the idea that the mixes had to not only sound good, but also be engaging on a gameplay level. So if I had to approach it again, I'd probably do things a little bit differently, but I don't know that I have like an overall favorite, but there's certain ones that I do like playing. So.
Sure. I mean, we spoke a few weeks back with some of the other people involved in the game, and they said they found it more difficult than actual DJing. How have you found it?
I mean, it definitely takes practice, because they're not, you know, you can't just be a great DJ and walk right into the game and go. Likewise, you can't get to be an expert on the game and then go and DJ a club. I mean, there's, as with any simulation, there's, you know, you try and cast a wide net and nail as many different disciplines as you can. DJing is a really, as with playing guitar, I mean, you can be a folk guitarist, you can be a heavy metal guitarist, you can be a punk guitarist, you could be, I mean, there's so many different, and only now in Guitar Hero are they getting into some of the more finer points of, let's kind of go in this direction now and expose this style, and the same thing can be said about DJing. I mean, you can be a house DJ, you can be a hip hop DJ, you can be a drum and bass DJ, and they all have different styles and different ways of making things happen in terms of putting a set together. So I think it's a really good first step.
Do you think the game will have any sort of influence on your future music?
That's an interesting question. I mean, it's impossible to say no unequivocally. It's also impossible to say yes. I suppose it just works its way into your DNA, and I suppose in subtle ways it'll certainly challenge the way I think about, you know, the music that I make going forward.
A lot of DJs have moved away from turntables to laptops and using stuff like Ableton Live. Do you think this sort of DJ culture and skills like scratching are under threat in any way?
I think vinyl is under threat, undoubtedly. I mean, you know, coming up as a DJ, I mean, when CD turntables were first available, I was excited by them. I thought it was a new tool in the tool belt. Likewise with Serato. I don't dismiss any new technology, but at the same time, I am extremely loyal to vinyl. And
I was going to ask, I mean, I've read you have over 60,000 records. Have you ever felt tempted to switch to MP3, or, you know, just from not having to lug around crates and crates of records?
Sure.
Do a gig, or?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I have used CDJs, I have used Serato, and I will in the future. But I think that you know, any technology can be a crutch. And I've seen a lot of DJs, I think, rely too heavily on pre-prepared mixes and mashups to the point where, you know, as a sort of a paying customer, I'm a bit put off in the sense that, well, what are they really doing live? You know, are they justifying their fee, or are they literally just pressing play on their laptop? And to me, there's a big difference. I mean, I'm at a point in 2009 where, frankly, I'm much more impressed by a DJ strictly limiting themselves to vinyl.
Sure.
Because at least I know that what I'm seeing and hearing isn't just like somebody miming.
Step right up and test your skills. Slow roast, I'm standing back. Slow roast, I'm standing high. Slow roast, I'm standing back. Oh yes, I guess I'm the toast when I'm hanging. In Miami, I'm sleazy with John Sam. Oh yeah, out to get straight toast on town. Can't make it, say, yes, say. Place your bet.
Well, I know from your gigs, you often have like a video screen fixed on the decks, and it gives people an insight into the skills, I guess. And I guess it brings you back to the game, and if you think people will learn any of those, or, you know, take it a step further and actually start picking up DJing.
Yeah, I definitely think that it will be a good gateway for people. The bottom line is that, you know, music is being phased out of schools, certainly in the States. And a lot of people can't afford a guitar. So Guitar Hero might be the only way they can, at least as a 6-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old, sit down for the first time and discover music. And personally, I think the more that people have an opportunity to expose themselves to different styles of thinking or different ways of thinking about music, the more likelihood is that they're going to want to push that further and go, okay, I'm going to take that leap into spending, you know, the money that it costs to buy a turntable and a mixer.
You championed San Francisco Bay Area hip-hop, the hi-fi scene on the last album. What's actually getting you excited right now? Is there any particular music, and what can we expect for the new album?
It's hard for me to even think in terms of an album right now because I'm trying to just get a good body of work together that will be cohesive, and I'm kind of thinking more about it in terms of a series of EPs rather than an album, because these days an album comes loaded with a lot of baggage. First of all, it's a huge time investment, and I think a lot of artists have started to question the wisdom of spending 2 or 3 years working on something and have it just sort of have an impact for a week and then slowly dissipate. I think it makes more sense to hit people with music more consistently, much as people did in the 60s and 80s, you know, with a single here, a single there, an EP there, and then maybe eventually an album when it's sort of warranted.
I mean, the issue of online piracy obviously comes up with this, and it's at the forefront in the UK again. What's your position on downloading? I mean, we've got people like Ed O'Brien from Radiohead saying they'd support big-time file sharers having their internet speeds cut. How do you feel about that sort of thing? Has it affected you directly, do you feel, or has it helped?
Well, I mean, I'd be lying. I mean, I know nobody wants to come across as a crank or a technophobe or a Scrooge or but I mean, I'd also be lying to say that it hasn't affected me. Of course it's affected every artist that I know, particularly niche artists, artists like myself that don't have top 40 hits and can't rely on like a ringtone hit to sell a million downloads. My bottom line is I think the artist should have the choice. And there may be times when I choose to put a single out there for free. There may be times where I prefer to just sell 500 copies of a 7-inch and limit it to that. And I think that similarly, if an artist is painting on a canvas, they've chosen that canvas and that location and that style for a very specific reason that means something to them, and they may not want it, shrunken down or pixelated in a lower quality form and dispersed around the world. It's ultimately, I think it should be the artist's choice.